In 2016, despite being smeared and suppressed in the media, you received over 1.5 million votes for president. But the censorship campaign seems to be getting worse now for independent voices. What challenges have you faced getting on the ballots, getting into debates on TV and on social media?
Yeah, and let me say, one other issue in that mix there is being shadow banned, so that, people are forever being taken out of our social media network and being removed and then having to, connect again. And our tweets, our postings across the board, have a very hard time rising up in the numbers. And that's just, it's not just in our imaginations, put it this way. When Matt Taibbi did the Twitter files, he clarified that we're classified in the same category as WikiLeaks. I consider that a great honor. But it is it's a practical impediment that does restrict our reach. And it just makes it really important, in my view, that we have to fight in every modality that we can, email and just networking and word of mouth, as well as social media and legacy media. The independent media is being terrific, and we're having a very good, series of dialogues with independent journalists, which is really going great. But it is a struggle to get the word out. It's extremely expensive jumping through the hoops to get on the ballot. And it's more and more expensive now because there are a lot of candidates, independents, who are competing for limited numbers of ballot access support. Where we have organized Green parties in the states that have them, and there are a lot that do, we have volunteers on the ground who are carrying the petitions, but many states require some assistance from professional petitioners, and those rates have doubled and tripled even in many, in many locations. So it's extremely expensive. That said, because a lot of the work has already been done by the state parties, in fact, we're on now 21 ballot lines, and there are several more that we expect to come through as our signatures are turned in and counted. In the next couple of weeks, we expect to be up to 24, 25, and to continue from there. So the numbers are going well, but we have roughly, well, I should add that 75% of the total signature burden is already completed. So a lot of the work is done. But among the remaining states, there are some very big hurdles, like in New York State. The requirements were changed in order to suppress third parties. And this happened, this was basically a Trojan horse in a much larger budget bill that people weren't even aware of to fight. But they raised their signature requirement to 45,000 valid signatures, which means you have to collect about 80 or 90,000 signatures, and they crunched down the time frame for it. So all that has to be done in the course of 6 weeks now, which is just, staggering. So this is going to be extremely expensive and, time and labor intensive. So it's those kind of hoops that we have to jump through. And the usual smear campaigns. However, I've been so smeared, I don't think there's anything new they can find here that they haven't already used and really drummed into the ground. The biggest of them being, the Russian asset smear. And for that, I was investigated for 3 years for the Senate Intelligence Committee that finally gave me basically, a complete bill of good health. And, that there was nothing untoward in my record. There was nothing to see there. That turned up like in the, I don't know, maybe page 700 of their 5th report. So it was completely unseen, whereas that photograph continued to circulate with a whole smear campaign along with it. So it's not like that's gone away, but sort of people have, if you haven't been convicted of something, and there's been no finding over a period of now like 6 years, 6 or 7 years, it just starts to really wear thin. So I'm not too worried about the continuing smear campaigns, especially at a time when most Americans reject mainstream media and presume that mainstream media is lying to you and purposefully misleading you. So it's like their weapons have really kind of grown very, very stale. Not too worried about that. The main thing is getting on the ballot.